Your grandfather bought a grain truck in 1973, International Transtar, Detroit diesel two-stroke, 8V71, cost him $18,000. He drove it for 30 years, every harvest, from field to elevator, 1,200 bushels at a time, 30 years of hard work. And when he retired in 2003, that truck was still running. So he sold it to another farmer. That truck is still working today. 52 years old. Same engine your grandfather heard fire up every morning. But same transmission he shifted through going up hills. Same frame that carried a half-century of harvests. It's had repairs. Clutch here, brake job there, alternator, starter, water pump. The kind of work you do in your own shop with basic tools and parts from the Napa catalog. Nothing major ever broke that couldn't be fixed in a day. No computer needed, no dealer software, no 6-month back order on a proprietary module. Just wrenches and parts and farmer knowledge passed down through generations. What's the oldest truck still working on your farm? And what year did your grandfather buy it? Share in the comments. We want to know what's still running. You bought a grain truck in 2019. Modern diesel, Kenworth, or Peterbilt, or Freightliner. Doesn't matter which brand because they all do the same thing. They break. Computer-controlled fuel injection, emissions compliance systems, electronic everything, DEF tanks, DPF filters. R catalysts, EGR valves. Cost you $95,000. 5 times what your grandfather paid. Adjusted for inflation, 3 times more expensive. You drove it for 4 harvest seasons. 4 years. And now it's sitting in the shop, waiting for a $12,000 ECM, engine control module, back ordered, 6 months minimum, maybe longer depending on supply chain. Truck's worthless until that part arrives, just sitting there, taking up space. 50 tons of useless metal waiting for a 5-pound computer chip that costs more than your grandfather's entire truck payment. And then you can't fix it yourself. The dealer has the software, the dealer has the diagnostic tools, the dealer has the proprietary access codes. You don't. So you wait, and you rent another truck for harvest, or you borrow your neighbor's, or you haul smaller loads with the pickup, while your $95,000 truck sits there, broken, 4 years old. Fellow farmers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've lived this. Your grandfather's equipment is still working somewhere, 40 years old, 50 years old, still hauling, still reliable. Your father's equipment needed repairs but lasted decades. You could keep it running, parts were available, fixes were possible. Your equipment? Electronic junk that breaks every season, costs a fortune to fix, requires dealer service you can't afford, and can't be repaired without proprietary software you're not allowed to have. What changed? Wait, why did trucks that used to last half a century become disposable equipment that dies in 5 years? 3 things, 3 shifts, 3 engineering decisions that made durability obsolete and replaced it with planned failure. The first thing that changed was electronics. Your grandfather's 1973 International had a Detroit diesel two-stroke, mechanical fuel injection, unit injectors driven by camshaft lobes, no computer, no sensors, no modules. Fuel pump was mechanical. Driven by the engine. Governor was mechanical, weights and springs controlling RPM. If something broke, you could see it, touch it, fix it with hand tools. Electrical system was simple. Battery, starter, alternator, lights, gauges. That's it. You could wire the whole truck with a basic wiring diagram and a roll of 14-gauge wire from the hardware store. Your modern diesel has 17 computer modules controlling everything. Engine control module, transmission control module, IBS module, body control module, instrument cluster module, HVAC module, emission control module, each one communicating over a CAN bus network, each one with proprietary software, each one a potential failure point. Fuel injection, computer-controlled, high-pressure common rail with piezoelectric injectors firing multiple times per combustion cycle based on oxygen sensor feedback and temperature compensation algorithms. One sensor fails, truck goes into limp mode or shuts down completely. One module fails, truck's dead, and you can't diagnose it without dealer software that costs $20,000 and requires annual subscription fees. Your grandfather could fix his truck with a socket set in a Chilton manual. You can't even figure out what's wrong with yours without a dealer technician and a laptop. Electronic control took every simple mechanical process that farmers understood and made it dependent on computers that farmers can't repair, can't diagnose, and aren't allowed to access. That's what killed durability, complexity, and the elimination of farmer repairability. The second thing that changed was emissions regulations. Your grandfather's Detroit two-stroke had no emission controls. None. Air in, fuel in, combustion, exhaust out. That's simple. Did it pollute? Yeah. By modern standards, it put out a lot of particulate and NOx. But it also ran for 50 years without a major failure, because there was nothing complex to break. Starting in 2007, EPA regulations required diesel particulate filters. DPM captures soot from exhaust. 2010, selective catalytic reduction. SCR requires diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, urea solution injected into exhaust to break down nitrogen oxides. EGR valves, recirculating exhaust back into intake to lower combustion temperatures. Variable geometry turbochargers, multiple pressure sensors, temperature sensors everywhere, NOx sensors, oxygen sensors. Every single one of these systems is prone to failure. DPF clogs, requires regeneration. If regeneration fails, filter cracks. Replacement, $3,000. DEF system freezes in winter. Injector clogs. Tank heater fails. Quality sensor goes bad. Truck shuts down if it thinks DEIF is contaminated or tank is empty even when it's not. EGR valve sticks. Cooler gets clogged with carbon. Exhaust gas recirculation fails. Limp mode. SCR catalyst degrades. Replacement, $8,000. These systems added maybe 3% emissions reduction. And they've already increased failure rates by 300%. Your grandfather's truck had none of this. It just worked for 50 years. Your truck has all of it, and it breaks constantly. Every system a point of failure, every sensor a reason to shut down. Emissions compliance killed reliability, not because emissions control is impossible, but because the systems required were over-engineered, under-tested, and designed by people who never had to fix them in the field. Bump. How much have you spent on emission system repairs in the last 5 years? DEF injectors, DPF filters, sensors. Add it up and share below. Let's see the real cost of these systems. The third thing that changed was planned obsolescence. Your grandfather's International Transtar was designed to last. That was the business model. Heavy frame, cast iron engine block, forged steel crankshaft, thick cylinder walls, replaceable wet sleeves. Everything built to be rebuilt, designed for overhaul, parts standardized across model years. Need a water pump for a 1973 Detroit 8V71? Same pump fits 1960 through 1985, 25 years of interchangeability. Need an injector? Rebuild kit costs $40. You can do it on your workbench in 20 minutes. The manufacturer made money selling trucks that farmers kept for decades. Quality was the selling point. Durability was the reputation. Your modern truck is designed to fail. Specifically, intentionally. It's called planned obsolescence, and it's built into every system. Parts that used to be standardized became proprietary. Every model year different, every engine platform unique, cross-compatibility eliminated. Need a sensor for a 2018 Packard engine? Won't fit a 2019. Different connector, different thread pitch, different part number. Why? Not because the engineering required it, but because the business model requires it. Components engineered to fail at specific intervals. Not fail immediately, that would be too obvious, but fail right after warranty expires. Turbocharger designed to last 75,000 miles. Warranty covers 70,000. At 80,000 it fails. Replacement, $4,000. Transmission designed to need overhaul at 200,000 miles. Just past the warranty. Overhaul, 12,000. Or trade it in and buy a new truck. Dealer service became mandatory. Independent repair became illegal. Software locks prevent aftermarket diagnostics. Proprietary tools required for basic maintenance. End-user license agreements forbid self-repair. Right to repair doesn't exist for modern farm equipment and trucks. The manufacturer doesn't make money selling you a truck that lasts 50 years. They make money forcing you to buy a new truck every 5 years. And they make money on parts, on service, on dealer maintenance contracts, on diagnostic fees, on software subscriptions. Failure is the business model now. Not quality, failure. Your grandfather's truck was designed by engineers who had to make it last because reputation mattered. Your truck is designed by accountants who calculated the exact point where it's cheaper for you to buy a new truck than fix the old one. And they designed it to reach that point in 5 years. So what did farmers lose when grain trucks became disposable? Durability. Trucks that lasted generations replaced by trucks that last until the warranty expires. Repairability. Equipment you could fix in your own shop replaced by equipment that requires dealer service you can't afford and diagnostic software you're not allowed to have. Independence. The ability to keep equipment running without corporate permission replaced by total dependence on manufacturers for parts, service, and repairs. Affordability. Your grandfather spent $18,000 once and drove that truck for 30 years. You spend $95,000 every 5 years, plus constant repairs, plus dealer service. Plus diagnostic fees. The lifetime cost of your modern truck is 10 times what your grandfather paid for equipment that lasts 1/10 as long. And control. Your grandfather owned his truck completely. He could modify it, repair it, rebuild it, keep it running as long as he wanted. You license your truck. The manufacturer still controls it through software. You can't modify it. You can't repair it without permission. And when they decide it's obsolete, it becomes worthless because parts and support disappear. That's what farmers lost. Durability, repairability, independence, affordability, and control. Replaced by disposability and dependence. You can't buy trucks like your grandfather's anymore. They stopped making them. The last simple, durable, farmer-repairable grain trucks rolled off the line around 1983, 42 years ago. Everything after that was designed for complexity, for electronic dependence, for emission compliance that requires constant maintenance, for planned obsolescence. The door closed, and it's not opening again. Federal regulations won't allow simple mechanical diesels. Emission standards require electronic control. Safety mandates require computer systems. Even if a manufacturer wanted to build trucks like your grandfather's, they legally can't. So the 50-year-old trucks still running are the last of their kind. When they finally die, they're not being replaced with anything equivalent. They're being replaced with disposable equipment designed to fail. And farmers have no choice. What's the newest piece of equipment on your farm? And how long did it last before the first major repair? Share your experience below. Fellow farmers need to know what they're buying into. Same work, same cargo, same roads. Different engineering philosophy, different business model, different expectations of how long equipment should last and who should be able to fix it. Your grandfather's truck was built to be owned. Yours is built to be rented until it breaks. That's what farmers lost when grain trucks became disposable.